Greetings folks, I'm Rawleyes Ganji and welcome to Quick and Dirty Roleplaying. In this video, I'll talk about TTRPG gamer obtuseness by referring to a real-life situation about a GM who made what I consider to be one of the dumbest decisions a GM could make while running a TTRPG session, the insights inferred from how he and others responded to criticisms of his decisions, and the lessons we can learn from this incident as both GMs and players. Since early 2024, I've been playing in a D&D campaign with a group that seems to only play D&D 5th edition. This group alternates between two 5th edition campaigns, though I chose to only participate in the lower level campaign to acclimate myself to the game and to learn how to play a Warlock, a class that I haven't played before the release of Baldur's Gate 3. This group wanted me to participate in their other game as well, but playing D&D 5th edition on a bi-monthly basis is my personal limit. In order to help them fill in that slot, however, I reached out to a longtime friend of mine, who we shall call Todd, to see if he was interested in joining a 6th level D&D 5th edition game, to which he agreed. A couple of games go by, and Todd reaches out to me, telling me that he left his D&D game early because around the first minute or so of the session, his character gets hit with a magical effect from some artifact that dominates his character's mind. From what Todd told me, when it was his turn in combat, the GM, let's call him John, controlled his character's actions during the combat. Afterwards, after the rest of the party defeated the foes in the room where the combat took place, John, the GM, moved Todd's character to the other room and had him do nothing. Todd was unable to control his character because he was still under the effects of the artifact's magical domination. During this time, another player at the table, let's call him Josh, would periodically ask John, the GM, about Todd's character, to which John replied that he was still under the artifact's domination effect. 2 hours of Todd not being able to control his character pass, where Todd is occupying his time on his phone, and Todd starts packing up and is asked by another player at the table, "Is something wrong?" To which Todd, who is taken aback for a moment, replies, "No, I'm fine," and leaves the session. Todd then told me that he was leaving the group because he didn't want to play with people who were too oblivious to notice or care not only that their party member was by themselves, but that another player at the table was unable to do anything with their character for at least 2 hours. He also told me that in all of his time playing Adventures League games, which he considers to be bottom of the barrel of D&D 5th edition gaming, he has never encountered a GM who has deprived him of player agency in such an egregious manner. He responded that he would have preferred that his character be killed with a save or die mechanic because, like that, he could have made a new character and gotten back in the game in about half an hour. Instead, the GM wastes 2 hours of his Saturday by benching him for one unlucky dice roll, with no saving throws to make every round to break free from the domination effect. All in all, I agree with his assessment. I did try to provide the benefit of the doubt, stating that TTRPG hobbyists appear to have a higher percentage of folks on the autism spectrum than the normal population, but even then, I'm not sure that that's a valid criticism, or that's a valid argument. I had asked Todd why he didn't advocate for himself during that time, to which he responded that he didn't care enough about staying in the game to do so, which is understandable, given the circumstances. So a couple of weeks pass, and a message from the WhatsApp group appears stating that 2 guys had left the group recently, Todd and another new person, who we shall call Max, who was unable to maintain Saturday attendance, and asked for feedback to see if there was something they can improve upon so that the next person could stay for good. So I take this opportunity to reply on Todd's behalf, since he left the WhatsApp group, stating the following, to which another player agreed wholeheartedly. Don't stunlock a player's character for 2+ hours, regardless of the in-game justification. Even if their character is mind-controlled Allow them to roleplay their character in a mind-controlled manner instead of taking away player agency. John, the GM, replies, he failed the domination save, and while the party was in the room, he was RPing his dominated character. However, after the fog cloud and the party left the room, there was nothing for him to do. As I stated before, in hindsight, I should have switched the other NPC, the Warlock, for his dominated character, but the thought came to me too late. Roll better. Lol crying emoji. My bad then. I replied, since I'm not part of that game, I've got no justifications to tell you how to run it. As for the game that I am involved in, if I ever get mind controlled, I would like to RP my character appropriately. Being subjected to a lengthy stun lock is bad gameplay, regardless of the rules or the in-game narrative. If anything, pull me over to the side and give me the lowdown of my character's motivations during this mind control so that I have guidance while still retaining character agency. Another player provided a response on behalf of Max, the newest new guy who left, regarding the stunlock situation, even though he wasn't part of that game. As to the stunlock, it is what it is. We all had it happen to us. Sometimes you just have a shitty game. Fuck that guy. To which I lost the basic respect for him that I provide to all newcomers who are sincere in wanting to play. Then, Max's reply addresses John, the GM, specifically. John, you're vindicated. And me, as a DM in multiple games, it happens and I try not to screw the player NPC too badly. Wink. But dice fault as they may, and without the feeling of real risk, the game lacks something. I didn't respond to that because it was a message relayed from someone who had left the WhatsApp group, that someone being Max. And that's basically where that thread ended. I do have thoughts about that kind of thinking, however. Why is benching a player for at least 2 hours a viable consequence to a failed saving throw? A roll that is made when something happens to a character, not a roll that is made when a character takes action. What kind of D&D Stockholm Syndrome did this person suffer from throughout his time participating in the TTRPG hobby? Does it occur to this person to put themselves in the shoes of someone who is benched for 2 hours for a failed saving throw? Going off of Max's responses to a situation that he was not a part of, I'd say this guy's a dumbass. Granted, I wasn't involved in it directly either, but Todd addressed the situation to me, and I responded to an inquiry where Todd's situation was very relevant, since it was the reason why he left the group. As towards John's replies to my criticism, I'll acknowledge that he apologized and recognized what he could have done as an alternative. I also acknowledge that his reply of roll better was an attempt at ironic humor. However, if a player is having their actions controlled by the GM, they are not role-playing their character. Also, after the encounter, there was nothing for him to do. He was a player at the table. Of course there's something for him to do. Play his character. What is the nature of this artifact that, when the rest of the party leaves the room, it keeps its dominated subject standing in one spot doing nothing? All I could do is speculate at this point, but regardless of the in-game reasoning, this is a terrible game mechanic to employ at the table. It's the reason why games like Monopoly suck, and why board games nowadays aren't designed to bench players one by one as they hit a lose condition. If you're a GM, recognize that, regardless of the lethality of your games, the players are there to do stuff as their characters, however many of them get created or assigned to them in a singular session. Mechanics that prohibit them from not doing anything, whether in or out of combat, are boring. Not playing is boring. When you impose a do not play condition on the player, you're wasting their time. If you're wasting a player's time, you're doing something wrong as a GM. If you're a player and you think that being benched for 2+ hours is a valid game mechanic at the table, ask yourself this: if my character was stun locked for 2+ hours, would this enhance my play experience or diminish it? If it would enhance it, or if you dismiss play experience altogether for the sake of narrative consistency or immersion or whatever else, then I lament your TTRPG playing upbringing, because you got done dirty by your GMs. If it would diminish it, then think of alternatives that would be both justified within the narrative and, more importantly, maintain or enhance your play experience that session. And that's all I have to say about that. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment, please keep it respectful and relevant. If you happen to be Max and want to react to me calling you a dumbass, please explain to me how you did not provide a dumbass take on this whole situation. Until next time, take care, folks, and play to find out what happens.